So we're very pleased to have such great participation by the directors. Just a few practical notes. There are programs with descriptions of all the films that are by the entrance there. If you're planning to come to more films, and we hope you are, please keep your program because we don't have enough for everyone to take one every time they come. So please take one and keep it with you and bring it back. Also, if you are planning to come to other screenings, there are separate RSVP lists for each film, and as you can see, there are a lot of people here, so be sure to sign up for the film if you're interested in coming. So this evening we will be opening with Stopover by Kaveh Bakhtiari for its New York City premiere, and we will meet him in a moment. I just wanted to say a few words about the series in general, to mention that it's a series that's organized by the Maison Française and curated by Nora Philippe, who will make some introductory comments in just a few moments. I'd like to thank the co-sponsors of this film series at Columbia, which are the European Institute, the School of the Arts, MA in Film Studies program at the School of the Arts, the Columbia Center for Contemporary Political Theory, Haman Center for the Humanities, the Alliance Program, the Institute for the Study of Human Rights, the Institute of African Studies, and Columbia Global Centers Paris. I'd also like to thank the supporters, the financial supporters of this series, namely the Knapp Family Foundation, the Paul Leclerc Centennial Fund, Cultural Services of the French Embassy, and I'd like to thank in particular Mathieu Fournet, who was a great supporter and enthusiastic partner from the beginning of this project. I'd also like to thank Unifrance, which is the organization in charge of promoting French cinema throughout the world, provided some financial support, as well as the SCAM, which is the association that represents the interests of French filmmakers and other multimedia professionals in their dealings with producers, broadcasters, and policymakers, and negotiates the collective rights and royalties. This is the first time that the SCAM has provided financial support for an international film series, and we hope that it will be the first of more to come. So, and finally, the European Union's Getting to Know Europe program. So thanks to all of our co-sponsors and supporters. I'd like to thank Kaveh Bakhtiari for being here with us this evening, and thank all of the directors that have made the effort to come to talk with us about their films. And to thank all of the panelists. Each of the screenings will be followed by a discussion with Nora, the curator, the director, and an invited Columbia academic, either from Columbia or from another university. I'm particularly grateful tonight to Nicolas Fischer, who agreed to join us on short notice because Sheila Benhabi, who was supposed to be here, wasn't able to be here for health reasons. So thanks in particular to Nicolas Fischer, but also to all of the other academics who will be joining us for discussions of these films. Finally, I'd like to thank Nora Philippe, the curator of this film series. And I just want to briefly introduce her, and then she will say a few words to introduce the series. And then after Nora speaks, we'll meet briefly Kaveh, we'll review the screening, we'll review the film. Then there will be a panel discussion and a reception. So we have a full evening ahead of us. Nora Philippe is a documentary film director, an author, producer, educator, and now curator. And her background is that she studied art history and art theory at the Sorbonne and École Normale Supérieure and the École du Louvre before obtaining a professional master's degree in film production and documentary filmmaking at Paris 7 Jussieu. She's amazingly productive and versatile. She also writes, has done journalism, poetry, criticism. She teaches at the École des Arts Décoratifs, Sciences Po, and the École des Études en Sciences Sociales. She's a filmmaker and has directed several independent video projects. Last year, we screened 2 of her films, Climate, Make It Work, and Pour l'Emploi ne quittez pas at the Maison Française, a wonderful documentary about the French employment agency. And she has launched an independent film production company called Les Films de l'Air. And it was Nora's initiative to propose to me last spring that we do this series of films about the situation of migrants and refugees in Europe, and to take on the role of curator. And she reviewed all the films that have been made in recent years about the situation with migrants and refugees in Europe, and made a selection of 10 films that are being featured in this series, including a mix of fiction, documentary, and 1 short. The common denominator among all these films is that they have some connection to France or the French-speaking world or the French language, or all of some combination of the above. Some of them were filmed in France, Others take place in North Africa or Greece or Switzerland, but they have a French director or producer or some kind of connection to France and the French-speaking world. A number of them have not ever been shown before in the US, so they're having a US premiere here. Others have been shown, but in a very limited fashion, and they're having a premiere in New York City. So I want to now let Nora come and say a few words. But first, I just want to say that it's just been such a great personal pleasure to work with her on this series. She's a great collaborator. She's incredibly talented. I just have to say a few more words. Very hardworking. She's worked very, very hard to put this together and to convince most of the directors to come and be here with us. So it's just been really a great personal pleasure, and I'd like to ask you to join me in thanking her and welcoming her.
So I joined Shani in thanking all the sponsors who have generously supported this program, but I above all thank Shani for her trust and for making such an ambitious program happen. It's rather unusual to show so many films with so many directors involved. A program which brings film, philosophy, human sciences, law into dialogue. So working with you as well has been and is a really great pleasure. Thank you. So, you might have noticed the poster of the series. It's a still, it's a photograph extracted from the film Les Restes Revolt by Simon. It is almost a still life, but there are hands. This gesture could be read as a proof of innocence, a sign of peace or a prayer. They are the hands of a man in the Calais jungle, which is an informal migrant camp in France, from which migrants try to cross the channel to reach England. They are the hands of a man who has fled his country in Africa, who has made a very long and perilous journey. They are the hands of a man who has erased his fingerprints with a heated nail, like many other fellow refugees or migrants, in order not to be recognized by police services and in order to be able to request asylum in a different country than the country where he first arrived in Europe, very probably Spain, Italy, or Greece. So we know the figures, don't we? We are witnessing in today's world an unprecedented level of human mobility. In 2015, the number of migrants surpassed 244 million, growing at a rate faster than the world's population. We know that Europe is facing the most acute refugee crisis since World War II. We also know that there were almost 1.3 million asylum requests in Europe last year. But maybe we're less familiar with the fact that the Mediterranean Sea is by far the deadliest migration route in the world today. Maybe we are a little bit less familiar with the fact that today there have never been as many border walls on this planet, and that the length of these walls put together is equivalent to the circumference of the Earth. We know that Turkey and Lebanon are currently welcoming millions of refugees from Syria. While, and we're maybe less familiar with that, France has granted asylum to only 26,000 people, and the United States has accepted only 10,000 Syrian refugees this year. Every day, maybe 10 times a day, I live in Paris. I come across Syrian families asking for help, for food, for formula milk, for the babies. Every day in Paris, I see hundreds of Eritrean, Sudanese, Nigerian migrants sleeping on the ground or in tents. And before they can even find time to fill an asylum request, every 2 or 3 weeks, I see the police destroy their tents and take away mattresses and pans in the middle of the night. As a French citizen, as a European citizen, I see the dream of Europe, the dream of an open and solidary Europe, the dream of a Europe defending human rights and not just a free circulation of goods, splinter more every day. When I see the boats of migrants sinking into the Mediterranean Sea, when I see coast guards piercing the life jackets of a person trying to cross the border between Morocco and Spain, I see the death of people who should be protected by moral duty and by legal obligation, but I also see the boat of Europe sink. And I'm sure these questions also resonate with the contemporary American political landscape. This is why this film series intertwines a theme, migrants and refugees, and the perspective, the viewpoint, the representation of refugees by European filmmakers who, by making those films, oppose the often xenophobic and paranoid policies our governments implement. And when I say European, the series includes filmmakers who immigrated themselves, like Kaveh Bakhtiari tonight, or Maki Bershash. Making films is lengthy, sometimes painful, and uncertain. You never know if your script or your project will go into production. And rare, very rare, are the financiers who want to fund a film about refugees. All of the films that are being shown in this series are independent films in the most technical and noble sense of the term. It means they exist thanks to the talent, the perseverance, and the engagement and the faith of the directors who sign them. And most of these directors, this is why it's so important, are traveling to join us here in New York. All of these films have garnered a significant number of awards and have screened in the most prestigious international film festivals. Stopover, Le Havre, and Hope have been selected in Cannes. Special Flight won several awards at the Locarno Festival. Fire at Sea, screening next Friday, won the Golden Lion at the Berlin Festival. All of them, on various levels, have played an important role in raising awareness and also in asserting that the refugee stories can be and are cinematic and deserve the big screen. I am also happy to say, as Shani mentioned it, that most of the films have not yet been shown or either in the United States or in New York City. So bear with me again, a few minutes. This program is conceived as a multi-layered map, if I may say. Each film represents various facets, routes, and experiences of migration, and cinema, at least in my eyes, is the very medium that allows the representation of individual bodies, faces, names, voices. Making films on this subject entails interweaving ethical and aesthetic considerations. In most documentaries you will see in the series, for instance, the migrants who are featured have accepted to be filmed because it was the only way to leave a trace in this world where they are permanently made invisible. So, very briefly, so the 10 films of this series do represent sort of mapping in terms of cinema and in terms of representation of migrants and refugees. So Stopover, Miscal, tonight, was shot over the course of a year in the clandestine apartment of Iranian migrants in Athens, who are stuck in Greece trying to figure out how to get to a European country further north. We will live with them and we will experience what it means to try to cross the border and to wait day after day, night after night, in a world where you're seen as having no right to be, or at least no right to move about, if you don't have, literally, blue eyes or the good passports. Tomorrow we're screening The Messengers. Laetitia Thurat and Hélène Crouzilla worked for 4 years and traveled extensively to Tunisia and Spain to find survivors of the journey through the Mediterranean Sea. The testimonies of the survivors, and all the more so, the film itself, become the symbolic graves of their fellow migrants who disappeared at sea. Laetitia Thurat will be here to present her film. Hope is a fictional film, and you'll be able to see it next Tuesday, October 18th. Loshkin worked for months with migrants in Morocco instead of professional actors to write and film his story, their stories, which relates the journey of a Nigerian woman and a Cameroonese man who crossed the Sahara towards Europe. The film focuses on the gender violence on African migration routes and offers a disturbing portrait of trafficking networks. May They Rest in Revolt by Sylvain Georges, and I started the speech with this image, will screen on October 19. It is a mesmerizing experimental film shot for several years in Calais, where migrants have built an informal town. The Calais jungle is a burning topic in French politics. It is criminalized, demonized, and hence regularly torn down by the authorities. It's also the place where Britain is now building a wall costing £2 million. Sylvain Georges, renowned for his films about activism, vulnerable groups, and resistance, will be here with us. Burn the Sea will screen on October 20. This documentary was directed by Nathalie Mambour and Maki Bershash, with Maki as a protagonist of the film, and the film story is the journey he undertook after the Arab Spring, after the revolution in Tunisia. It offers a poetic reflection about exile, freedom, and political engagement. Nathalie and Maki are exceptionally traveling to New York and will join us for discussion. Le Havre is another fictional film, as Hope, And it's, in my view, one of the most beautiful films by Finnish director Aki Kaurismäki, who actually chose to shoot in French. It's the only film that he shot in French. And it's what I could call a political fairy tale. In Le Havre, which is a French rundown port near Calais, the well-named Marcel Marx helps save a young boy who's migrated from Africa. And the three last films shown on from October 26 to 28 show, I would say, not to imprison the films in their subject or to reduce them to that, but the three realities that currently coexist in Europe and actually in the world. First, the investigative documentary Welcome to Refugeestan by Anne Poiré explores the world of humanitarian camps, drawing on the fact that the average length of a stay in a humanitarian emergency camp is 17 years, and that if these camps were a nation, as they comprise 17 million people, it would be the 63rd largest country in the world, like the Netherlands. The School of Fable by Julie Bertuccelli shows a special class in Paris for refugee students coming from all over the world. It shows the major role public school plays in favor of integration and inclusion, and shows how much all students, of course, gain from diversity. The film is sunny, optimistic, and has amazing characters, and Bertuccelli will be here with us for discussion. And eventually, Special Flight by Fernand Melgar, Swiss, is an extremely powerful documentary. It was shot over 9 months in an administrative detention camp in Switzerland, and it underlines the way Europe breaks international law and negates human rights through methods of detention, violence, and refoulement, the unwanted sending of people back to their home countries. The film triggered a scandal in the country and obliged the administration to soften its protocols. But even so, Fortress Europe has definitely continued along this path, and today there are more than 400 detention camps for migrants across Europe. So cinema was born as the print of light on celluloid. Through this film series, hopefully, we will think about what kind of prints we want to leave on hands. I will introduce you later because I think you really need to see the film, but so I turn the mic to you and to present the film in whatever name you want. So Kaveh Bakhtiari, please.
I don't really like filmmakers who talk too much before the movie, so I will be very short, but I will be there after the movie, the application. I will be happy to try to answer the question. Enjoy the movie.
Thank you. Thank you very much. So I'm very happy to introduce again in a little more complete way Kaveh Bakhtiari. So Kaveh Bakhtiari was born in Tehran, Iran, and grew up in Switzerland, as you guessed in the film, where he arrived at the age of 9, and he studied film at the prestigious ECAL school in Lausanne. He graduated in 2003, and then he drew much attention actually with his first short film, La Valise, The Suitcase, in 2007, and he won many awards and traveled the world with his film. And then, actually, L'Escale was his first feature-length documentary, and it was presented at the Festival de Cannes in 2013, and he will actually have, I guess, a few beautiful anecdotes about what happened in Cannes with the characters of the film when the film was presented. So again, we're very, very happy that we made it and that we are here in New York with us. Thank you again. And so Nicolas Fischer is a political scientist. He comes from France. We are lucky enough to have him in New York this semester. He's at NYU right now. And he's a specialist of the relationship of state violence around immigration issues. You've just published this very year a handbook about immigration policies in Europe. Le Territoire, so let me check because I checked the English title, but it's not yet translated. So I think we'll get
Actually, the handbook is called the Politiques Migratoires, Immigration Policies.
Yeah.
There's an article that's
Because you're specialized in mostly French issues, but at the same time this year you're working on in America.
right now in the USA, I'm actually not working on migration control. I'm working on the death penalty, so it's still violent, obviously. But yeah, I've worked basically on immigration detention issues, especially in migrants in Europe.
He's the perfect specialist that we needed tonight. And you are a researcher at CNRS, the National Center for Scientific Research in France. So that's it. So thank you very much for joining the panel. Thank you so much. So the first question goes to Kaveh. What really strikes me in the film is the play around identities. The identities that migration steal, the identities that empower you, the identities that destroy you, and how the characters of the film have to resemble a certain Western model, and in a parallel way, you are as well completely involved in this play of identities. You're at the same time Iranian, but you say we, us, Europeans. You are, I quote a character, the asshole with a camera, and at the same time you help them. So the film is in this dive down going forth of identities, and I would like you maybe to comment on that.
Yeah, it's a huge topic. Sorry, first I have to say my English is very as a word and illegal migrant a beginner. So if I don't find
I'm there.
yeah, thank you for subtitling. Yeah, because we all know that identity is nothing fixed. It's moved every time, every second, and when I start to think how I can build this topic, this situation first, because there was a lot of characters inside, and they go everywhere, but very quick and go back. And one of the points that I catch is, okay, I have to characterize everyone, even me. Actually, I was a smuggler in my mind, a smuggler from the audience, and after this, I try just to show how they change every time as a travesty. Travestite, yeah. It's actually like a travestite for everyone. And the border, and it's also the body was really important. The body in the clothes, basement, when you have 5, 10 characters, 10 men as a jail, you know. And yeah, and what I want to show is nothing is fixed, and everything will move. Also, not just when you are illegal immigrant, but of course it's the most, how can I say, most representative for illegal immigrant, but we also feel that we live like this every time in the average life.
However, it's a matter of survival sometimes for them.
Yeah. They are survivors, of course, they are survivors. Not a real survivor. They saw the boat before them
Sink. So they were, because they crossed
from Turkey
on
to
a boat.
to boat, yeah. And at that time we didn't have a lot of images about this situation, and
You mean in 2013?
yeah, in 2013. and it's why Guyana, the woman, draw. No, it's and explain, try to explain what they feel.
She said there are no words, so that's why she does.
Yeah. And the draw in the end, you don't know what is it exactly. And it's very close to the film.
Nicolas, what this circulation of identities, and also that also have precise names. For instance, this very strange scene, which I, for instance, personally don't really understand about passports. The good passports, the less good passports, the bad ones. Would you like to comment on that? And also we'll talk about the passport scene about the Swiss passports, but that's another one.
Yeah, that passport scene was very interesting. Yeah, you meant about the hierarchy they make, but yeah, the good and not so good passport. I thought this was very interesting because having studied what happens on the side of police officers, judges, especially judges who adjudicate immigration cases in France, they have the same kind of hierarchy actually in their own vision. So somebody who comes up with a Danish passport is not too suspicious. If he doesn't look like too Danish, then it's already something problematic. So this is why actually, because that's in the contact lenses. It's quite interesting on that. But then passports that are issued by African countries, Latin American countries, makes a lot of government officials pretty suspicious because these states, in the first place, are not supposed to be, strong, legitimate states that do issue documents that are, that can be trusted, and so forth. And you really see how you have a national, racial, continental hierarchy between what kind of state is good and what kind of state is not so good because it's not a real state, and you can, question that. And actually, it's quite interesting to see how the immigrants themselves anticipate that kind of judgment. And they just know what a good passport is. And a good passport is some passport from an inner country of the European Union and particularly northern country. If you have a passport from Norway or from Sweden, it's okay. Southern passports may be a little more awkward, and if you get outside of the European Union, the more south you go, the more suspicious you can get. So you don't want to have a passport. You do have it's a moral hierarchy because it's not, and the happiness of course you have all sorts of prejudices and religions about states, nations, and continents, and sometimes regions.
Kaveh was talking about the borders, the way he focused on the borders, and indeed, and talking about how they change their identities, and actually it goes, the body is the tool in transformation, and they are scenes that are comical. We all laugh, and you wanted us to laugh. The blue contact lenses and the hairdresser. He tries to look like sort of blonde German guy, and it's funny, and then at the same time it's absolutely horrifying because it means that to exist and to have rights, or to have the right to have rights, you need to look like that, to have blue eyes and to be blonde. And and also, of course the image in some cinema can convey that and can convey the complexity this has, and you don't remove their agency because you show them laughing at. They know, they are aware of that. But did you? How did you read those scenes when you were shooting them?
Because sometimes when it's become very difficult, reality becomes too huge to be accepted by the conscience of human. There is no many way to become crazy, and humor is one of them. Maybe I want to say not only, but I pretty want to save money, you know, in Turkey. And actually they were smart, and so it helped a lot to apprendre. To apprendre la réalité. Yeah. And there is a lot. I have actually a lot more than what we saw in the movie.
So how many hours of footage?
500 hours. Yeah. Because I had a very small camera like this, a little bit small. Because I had to look like a tourist. So when I went there, I looked around and I saw the tourist people and small camera. I have to take this small camera also. Without this, I couldn't have a crew with a big camera and on the street film them. And sometimes they help us. Then more than because we look as tourists. And it's why we have so many hours. And it's not so clean. You know, it was so clean because it's a basement. There is a lot of people. I do not have sound, not light. So it's why it was huge.
And then the editing, well, how long did it take?
Editing, it was actually the movie. The shooting was about 1 year, not continuity, yeah. And after the editing was really 1 year. For example, just to select the picture, the footage, it's like 3 months. So I spent 1 year on the basement in Athens, and after I spent 1 other year in Paris to the another basement.
Another basement. Yeah, editing you have to be. Yeah, we often edit films in basements. So yeah, I was talking before about the intertwining of ethical and filmic problematics. And now there's one key moment to me in the film, one of many key moments, but when you say about your cousin who's been catched by the police, how can I help? How can I help him? And we guess that it might involve, and it does actually, stop filming. Because filming in the film, your film, the gesture of filming, the presence of the camera is at the same time something that is a potential danger, that puts them at risk, and at the same time that is on several levels saving them. So, and the film is built on that, the architecture of the film, and it's the very basis of the film is there. So I was wondering, again, if it's something that I guess it was in progress, it was while shooting, but...
Yeah, because if you want to, what I thought is, if you want to feel the danger, one way is to show this also, to show the fragility of a small camera, the fragility of the situation, the fragility of them, the fragility of suddenly police can come, everything is finished. So all of small sign help us, not just for the movie, but through the movie to feel the deep feeling of this guy. They live every second like this, they feel the and I use my tools, what I had in my hand, and also don't try, because I really want to make a sincere movie. So, for example, when my cousin was in jail and I want to help him, I put my hand. I didn't need to put this on the movie, but I thought it's good to put it because this is a more sign, as a second sign of this fragility. Yeah,
the moment you put the camera in the back.
And actually after this, I spent 3 weeks to help him to find him. Of course, in the movie it's very close, and so I put this ellipse like this. It's all of sign have to I think the audience to feel also the film interiority of our characters.
Nicolas, feel free also to let you nothing, so feel free to also comment. But I have a question for you. Kaveh was mentioned the time. Indeed, that's something that we really send. I mean, many times unfolding, and others that are depressed. And I would like to ask you to explain us a bit people, maybe some of you are very familiar, some less. What's happening exactly in Greece? Because Greece indeed is the country where most of migrants arrive by boat, and the country is completely overwhelmed. And the situation you filmed does illustrate this problem, but all is very, in some way, enigmatic. Because Amir says that your PIN card is renewed or not, depending on the officer, if he likes your face or does not like your face. Then we see hundreds of people and of men, actually only, so maybe you have also some comments to make about that, who queue in front of a sort of night, or an office that is not open to renew something. So it's a sort of offshore, sort of very mysterious administrative world, and perhaps it's part of the filmic project, but maybe it could help us understand better.
But I thought that was really interesting because actually a lot of this is not typical from the Greek situation. We found the same thing in France. And indeed, if you look at what's been done on the everyday life of undocumented immigrants who live in France, they have all those almost legends about how the civil service, how administrations and government administrations work, because nobody can make sense of what's happening. Sometimes you get a decision, and the other day you get just the opposite. Somebody makes his way through the whole legal process. Somebody else who's supposedly exactly the same will give different decisions. So when you see that from the situation of an undocumented immigrant, just trying to make sense of all that, it's very mysterious, and you really have legends and beliefs on you should do this if you want to do that. It's got nothing to do with the law. We just know that if you speak to that woman here, you won't get the permit. If you speak to that man there, you won't get it. And you have to go this way and talk like this and do that. And some of it is actually very rational. There are ways to talk to the bureaucrats. Some is completely belief or even sometimes superstition, but then you do have that kind of logic. But what what we see in the film, those lines, those parts of immigrants trying to just get an appointment with somebody at desk. This happens in Bobigny, in the north of France, at the prefecture. Actually, there was a sociological study of the lines, of people waiting in lines before the prefecture of Bobigny. And that the whole management of the line, you can pay someone to wait in line for you, because it takes the whole night. I mean, you come at 11 o'clock on the evening and you wait until the morning just to get a ticket to have an appointment to see somebody some other day. So you can pay somebody to do that. You have people distributing tickets and so forth. So this happens, I think, in a lot of countries, at least all over Europe. And we're talking about, we're referring to something else. Women. That's a pretty difficult question. That really depends on what type of immigration pattern you have. I think in the case you were people you work with and we're with, it's really about single men migrating and possibly trying afterwards to get a family to come or to join families they have in various countries of Europe, which is the case of a lot of people moving to, for example, in Kaveh right now. People, Iraqis, Athens, or from India, who try to go to Great Britain because they have relatives there and they want to join them. If you take our situations, for example, from Syria, refugees from Syria, you have entire families who are forced out of their country and have to immigrate as complete bunch. So you have small children, you have men and women, you may have women alone with completely different situations, different threats as well. So it really depends on the kind of migration that people are looking at.
And what about the prison? Because Hussein goes to prison. I know that in France you can go to jail for up to 3 years if you're still on the French territory and that your asylum request has been rejected. England, strangely enough, at least until now, is a little kinder in terms of So what's happening exactly with the detention?
Yeah, well, there is a general trend to criminalizing immigration. So the simple fact that you're a migrant, you don't have the proper documents, can bring you to jail, can bring you all sorts of penal prosecutions and measures. The thing is, actually, there was a decision by the European Court of Human Rights in 2011 preventing any state from actually prosecuting and putting in jail someone just for being an undocumented immigrant, which was the case in Italy and in France. So this became a big problem for the French administration. But apart from this, there are 1,000 different ways for undocumented immigrants to end up in jail for other reasons. So as you say, if you have a deportation order that's pending and you remain on the territory, you can go to jail for actually up to maybe a year, up to 3 years in some cases. If you were put in immigration detention and you were recently away, same thing. And if you faked a passport, that's an offense, so you can go to jail for that as well. So there are many different ways for somebody who's just trying to get through to end up in detention. And so yeah, it does exist, and you have a lot of people who are simply in jails. And jail, of course, doesn't have any kind of sense, especially for them. I mean, it doesn't make sense for a lot of people when they're in jail to go there because they should be under psychiatric care or things like that. But I mean, it makes no sense trying to help them to get a job inside the prison because they can't get a job inside the prison. They cannot get a job outside because they're undocumented. So they have very paradoxical situations like that. And anyway, in the end, even if they have some kind of reinsertion or social reinsertion or so forth, they're supposed to be deported when they go out of jail. So there's a lot of incoherence there, and actually their time in prison only serves as another type of immigration detention, supposedly to prepare their deportations. But a lot of them actually are never deported, so they're just released and it goes all over again. It starts all over again.
The basement. Oh, we should open. Shani is doing okay. I just wanted to say that the basement in which they stay looks like the jail itself, and well, before opening, turning the microphone over to you, I just wanted to go back to briefly to what you said about the curtain of the basement.
When I was thinking about the movie, I said, okay, everybody has to be characterized very precisely, and the last character for me was the basement, and it's the last character that we saw in the movie, and the face, for me, the face of this basement, we don't know really how the geography of the place, but the face of this place for me was the curve, so it's a last. It has actually, it could be also a very small land, and that people live there, and it's flat on this land.
Questions?
Thank you. So the movie took place in 2013, right? Or shot in 2013. The scene that we see with the storming of the gates, trying to escape on the ships, was that happening in those days? And if it is, what do you think it is right now? With the citizen masters after seeing the Syrian immigrants and all the I mean, if that was really the truly seen that mayhem about people escaping on the ships, was that happening every night? It was real?
I'd say so, yeah, definitely.
You have to be because I
Yeah, but it was, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. But now I don't know. Well, there's a terrible mess between Greece and Turkey. And you have several islands between Greece and Turkey, which are Greek, which have now turned into huge detention centers, but the size of the very islands. And so every day you have people trying to pass through from Turkey to those islands, from those islands to the mainland of Greece. And every night you have patrols and controls like that. But yeah, I mean, literally, I don't think anybody controls anything. You have so-called hotspots, which are really detention camps in all this area. But you have people every night trying to pass, trying to get through a boat, get from a boat to mainland, in mainland, get on a truck, and so forth. And actually, on a very smaller, much smaller scale, you have the same kind of thing in Calais, in the north of France, with every night people trying to pass through. And actually, I thought of that when I saw the scene in the film, because the same thing happens in Calais. Every night you have immigrants in small groups trying to get inside the trucks that are being put on the boats to the United Kingdom and to try to cross the channel that way. And every night you have the police, raiding the area, trying to find the immigrants inside the trucks with captors that are going to detect breathing and things like this, and trying to take the people out. But it happens basically all the time. And the police just let it.
I want to say something that's important for me. When you are focused with close-ups to the situation, we could thinking that there is a billion of migrants who want to do this and do this, but it's not true also. There is no billion and billion migrants who want to do this. Most of migrants was just near the country, the native country. Most of them because they are waiting to go back very quickly. And I can say most, how can I say, courageous, bravest try to come. And we all know bravest is not the majority of humanity. So I said that because after the movie I saw, I don't know what's happened about a picture of a child in Turkey who was died of a Syrian child. And after this movie, every media went there, and even me after 1 week, I thought, oh, there is billion people who want to come. But it's not true. It's not true. It's not the reality. What they show, or what I show is the reality. But we have to be aware that it's not a billion of people. It's not true. No one. It could. It could be true. But this is the risk when you are focusing on something. And it's difficult to find what is the best. Don't talking too much about something, or talking too much about
yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think actually what you're doing is that you're showing those scenes, but then you're showing the daily life of just, and that's what's important, because this is what we never see in the media.
Yeah, of course.
Because we do see a lot of the literal invasion of people trying to get inside trucks and so forth. But on Syria, I don't have all the figures here, but there are about 143,000 Syrian refugees on the Greek territory. But this is still a very, very small part of the refugees coming from Syria. If you look at figures, I'll have to find them, but in Lebanon or in Jordan, you have more than 1 million. I think it's 1 million 1.2 million in Lebanon, in Jordan it's even more than that. So, as you said, the majority of refugees are in countries nearby the country they fled because what they want is to be able to come back at some point. And it will be the same for refugees in Africa, refugees in other parts of the world. So yes, there is this image of an invasion, while actually it's only a very small part of it. These people who are able to pay the price financially and in every sense to actually come and get to Europe or get to North America.
I will go through this personally. Even if my situation was different, because it's so risky, and there's two risks. It's not just you can die through this wild, but it's also the risk that you broke the bridge between you and your family and your country. It's one of the reasons that a lot of them are just near the native country.
I should probably add just one small thing, that actually a majority of immigrants who live without documents on the European territory did not actually enter illegally the European territory. They came with visas in a legal way, and they overstayed the visa. And that's, from what we know, is the majority of situations.
Question? I think it's more the first.
I have a question. I'd like to actually follow up on what you said on. It's true that like the majority of the legal immigrants in Europe came visas and overstayed visas. So that also confirms the fact again, this like whole myth of invasion from Africa, and then the excuse that we can't like welcome all the misery of the world and everything. You know, it's like in French, like arguments and everything. So I was actually like wondering that when I watched this, did any of these people who lived with try to get a visa first? The reason I'm asking is actually like when I know that there's like increasing restrictions on the visa regime as part of the border control outside of the borders of Europe. But I was still wondering if there's no chance of, you know, like using the legal routes.
I think I don't know, but I will try to be inspired about here. I think it's exactly the same if you want to go to great university as Columbia and you are poor. So you can't say, would you talk very well about this? You can't say it's not possible. It is possible. You can have a course of scholarships. You can have this. It exists. So, and this is, so we can't say no, it's not possible.
Yeah.
Because this is possible. But you can imagine the person of genius, I don't know how to say that, who can do that. And this is a situation that you use this possibility also to say no, it's not true. There is possibility. You know? Because of course I can't say no, it's not possible. It's impossible to go to Columbia University if you have ability and not the money. Because it's possible, but it's not for all. I think it's exactly the same for migration.
Another question here.
My question is, you've been a year with this group, right?
Yeah.
So you've seen the smugglers, or you know a bit more about the market of passport. I'm interested in all this economy that it takes place. That you sort of allude to the T-shirts that they sell. So I'm interested in all this business. Who are they? I mean, are they Greek people? I mean, you sort of don't say anything. Is it just because you want to protect? I mean, those who come after, or what do we know about all this? Is it standard, this market for passports? You didn't say they are real passports, right?
Yeah, it's a very good question, because I didn't, for me it was so important and so huge. I thought, okay, this is another movie, and it will be my next movie, actually. And I think it's a fiction movie, because documentary movie about this doesn't work. It's my And there is a lot of great Italian, European people who walk. And
The other migrants.
I learned that if you are somewhere in the world and very far to your embassy and you don't have money, you just sell your passport. And so a lot of passport is just selling or also people store. But there is this category. And after there is the passport that they changed something, or the passport, the real passport, that they change nothing. This is most important, you know, to wait to have someone with the same face, and you have more chance to go because they never touch your passport. And smuggler, about smuggler, I changed. No, before this, for me, smuggler it was something bad, kill people, I don't know, criminal, mafia, etc. But after my experience, I saw it's not so easy also. Because I saw a lot of them save people, save family, and take a risk for them because they do this for free. And if you do something for free, another smuggler is not very good, can come and kill you. And it happened, you know. So this is another, another way to. I learned this my contact with them. Actually, they don't know. They didn't know I made a movie about migration. After the movie, they know, and I go back there. And it was good because they know I'm not just here to denounce them, or I don't know. And some of them saw the movie and they say yes, it's very, very great because you show what does it mean, but not with statistic, but with theory. And actually one of them I had a huge discussion, he knows a lot about cinema and etc. So it's not as simple, And usually, I think you can also know that, usually we use the smuggler when we want to say we are fighting, we can't say we are fighting about immigrant. So we say we are fighting about smuggler.
Nicolas wants to ask something.
You said it a lot better than I can. It's that character of the smuggler is a very morally, socially ambiguous one. And he did what you said, just basically what you said, a few studies that have been done on that. Because actually, especially when controls were not so tight at the European borders, and it would be the same for North America. Smugglers used to be, in the first place, immigrants themselves. I mean, immigrants who had been there before, made their way across the border a couple of times, and they just knew the right spots, the right ways. So they would take people from their community, from their village, from their neighborhood, across the border, maybe make some money, but there was a kind of compromise. You can't do really wrong to the people who are smuggling, because if you do that, your relatives back in the country of origin will be in trouble. You'll be in trouble sometimes soon. You have that kind of thing in a lot of situations, I think. What you can say is the more difficult it gets to go across the border, the higher the price goes. And this actually is calling for more possible criminal networks to get involved, because they have the means. They have cars, trucks, they have money, they have people. So actually the tighter the controls become, it's becoming more and more difficult for the smuggler to be just one might be both helping people and using them to make money and so forth. But you do have those very complex smugglers who are making money and at the same time helping out. And as you said, actually, yes, this idea that smugglers are criminals when they are mafia and so forth has become the pretext for repressive measures against people whom we are not supposed, that the states are not supposed to repress because they are just poor migrants that we have to help out. But then the smugglers are the bad guys. Yeah. So we're going to crack down on the smugglers, and the smuggler is basically anyone, any migrant that you arrest. So it's pretty easy to just translate the repressive discourse from immigrants or refugees to smugglers, and then justify repressive measures on that ground.
I'm afraid we need to end this discussion. I hope we can continue the conversation in a more informal way, have a drink outside, because I'm sure that you have many other questions and Kaveh that are going to answer. I thank you very much for your